show is AD on the radio.
Today on the show, we discuss the continuing horror of Hurricane Harvey. We talk about what we can do to help, and we talk about how this disaster has evidenced the kindness, bravery, and compassion in people that truly makes America great.
Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
So, after they had to cancel their show in Houston because of Hurricane Harvey, they were supposed to play this past Friday night just gone by, the guys in Coldplay actually wrote a song called Houston, for Houston, about Houston. And they dedicated it to their Houston fans from a show that they did the other night in Miami. Have a listen to this.
This is because we all grew up loving we all grew up loving country music, and of course that's kind of what we think of when we go to Texas. So if you'll bear with us, this is a new song, and we'll never play this again. It's a once-off, and this is called Houston. We're going to sing it in Miami for everybody here, and we're going to send it over there to everyone that missed the show, or we're going to go back there for the show. Anyway, thank you for listening.
So they say it's the last time they're ever going to play it. I think the people of Houston might demand it. I got to be honest with you. I don't know how I'm getting through the show today. Not for any other reason than, gosh, don't necessarily know what there is to say. Coldplay got it right in terms of saying there's something special. There's a harmony in Texas that bonds people. It's interesting. I played that song to a bunch of folks, and I don't know if people have never been to Houston, or they don't know about Houston, or if they've never been to that town, or if it's not their home, it might not mean a lot to them. But there wasn't a single person that heard that didn't have tears in their eyes. God bless Houston.
Let's start the show.
Has no problem in that city where they send you into space. I'm dreaming of when I get back to Texas. Corpus Christi, Harris County, Galveston. There's a harmony that comes down there in Houston. Oh, Houston, you got to keep on keeping on.
In case you just joined us, that was something Coldplay did at their show, I think in Miami the other night. They were supposed to play in Houston this past Friday, just gone by, and couldn't because of Hurricane Harvey. And you know, it's interesting. I don't know if that means anything to you. I don't know if you've been to Houston, Texas. I don't know if you need to have been to Houston, Texas for that to mean something to you. But it's interesting that every last person that I played that for, that are in Houston, from Houston, have anything to do with Houston. And tears. Tears for everyone. And it's interesting. You don't know exactly why. It's sort of something that I guess Coldplay cobbled together. And they wanted to do something. They did something. They said it would be the only time they would ever play it. I think talking to people from Houston about that song, it's nice to know when the chips are down that your fellow human beings are thinking of you. It's nice to know that you are not alone. And they got it right. They got it right in that line about there being a harmony that bonds people in Houston. See, I'm not from Houston, but I've spent a large portion of my life there. When I was kind of wondering what the hell I was going to do with my life, when my brief ride as a professional musician was coming to an end, when someone bought our record label and my band's record was, I think, just scraping the top 40. We had just charted. Everything was going great guns. And they went, hey, there isn't really a record label anymore. You need to bring the tour bus back. And when everything sort of dissipated, when our guitar player took a job being the musical director for the Blue Man Group, and I couldn't stand in his way. I mean, not that I would have had the ability to, but this is a guy who had a wife and a kid. And when you get a job like that, you get to, play music every single day for a living. And you get to have things like health insurance and a paycheck. And your living is actually that, a living. So it was all over in a puff of smoke. This weird thing that I'd done kind of since the tail end of high school. This crazy ne'er-do-well life of couch surfing and living in tour buses and in hotels and going around the world and screaming my head off on stage. All of a sudden that went up in smoke. And I wound up in Houston because, well, first and foremost, when I got back to America, I'm from New York. But I was mostly raised in England. And when the band sort of got signed in America and we came here on tour, I was shocked and amazed to find how much I loved Texas every single time we played there. I'd spent a little time there, not much. Whenever we were on tour and I saw that Texas was a stop, places like Houston, San Antonio, and Austin, Corpus Christi, I'd be overjoyed because I found that people there were so kind, so welcoming, so excited about music that, and the shows were crazy too. Man, if you saw that you had a stop in Texas, Houston and San Antonio and Austin especially, people just would lose their, no, you know what? It's every town in Texas. Sorry, I'm thinking about it. Every single town in Texas, whenever you played, the people would lose their ever-loving minds. So they're passionate about music, cared about music, passionate about getting out there and living life, I suppose. But I was shocked. I was like, here I am, this, kind of English guy with roots in New York, and I love Texas. Who would have seen that one coming? It's great. People are great. You can't say enough about this place. So welcoming, so warm, so kind, so community oriented. We would go down there, play a show, and all of a sudden we'd have a bunch of new friends. Wasn't audience members. People weren't just a drop in the ocean. People weren't transitory in your life when you met them in Texas. You knew if you formed a relationship there, that was something that was going to last and stick around for a long time. So there I was, kid, 23 years old. My resume says singer in a band. I don't even have a band anymore. And I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. I knew it was going to be something media related because that's all I understood. Media, entertainment, all that sort of stuff. It was either that or go to college. And the scholarship that I earned to go to college was dependent on me actually going to college. So when you come back a couple of years later and say, hey, could I use that? They were like, no, you cannot. So as I was picking where I was going to go, I very specifically chose Houston. And it worked out to be the best decision I ever made.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radioland. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on. Come on.
So, just disclaimer, you're going to hear me probably get choked up throughout today's show and probably for the foreseeable future when we talk about Houston, when we talk about Texas and what's going on. And first and foremost, my stuff's okay. But my apartment in Houston is on a very high floor. Initially, there were all sorts of concerns that the wind would blow the windows open and all of the above. But it turned into a problem of rain. So much rain, not necessarily wind. So that's fine. And, I just remembered a storage space I have on Westheimer, which, okay, well, that's just stuff that might be gone. I don't know. You know what? We'll have to wait and see how that all goes. But it's impossible. It's impossible not to take on the feelings of a community that has taken you on, that has made you one of their own. When I moved to Houston, It was because, well, I love Texas. I love Texas. When I've been on tour, I discovered, oh my gosh, I love Texas. I love the people of Texas. This place is great. And I knew I had to do something media related. Because that was all I knew. I'd squandered a college scholarship, gone off in a screaming punk rock band during all the years where all my friends were going to school. They were all driving new cars and working their new jobs. And I was going, I got literally nothing. I got a duffel bag full of stuff. And I just got kicked out of the tour bus I've been living on. My parents' place in England had been sold. So literally it was the stuff in my backpack and a storage place full of childhood items in a different country. And I decided to go to Houston because Houston, besides being Texas, where I'd found people to be so incredible, was also, well, it's fourth largest city in America. It's the fourth most populated city in the entirety of the United States. And it's a huge media town. The thing about Houston is a very car-oriented culture. The place is massive. If you've never been there, it is humongous. Part of what makes dealing with Hurricane Harvey such an incredibly difficult job for anyone that's doing that, whether it's a civilian helping another civilian or whether it's some sort of service or authority. The place is massive. I used to live on the north side of Houston and do a club gig, like for those of us in radio sometimes occasionally do a club show where we'll host, we'll bring bands on and off stage. I used to do this every single week. I lived on the north side of Houston in a neighborhood, if you're familiar with it, called Champions. And I used to drive down to Clear Lake, which is on the south side of the city, every single Sunday. And it was 100-mile round trip every day. Every Sunday, I would drive 100 miles to go host this club night. And a lot of people were like, why would you do something like that on a Sunday? And I was like, it's an amazing night. The folks in Clear Lake, the folks who run Scout Bar in Clear Lake, who I know for a fact are hunkered down right now, people spending the night on their pool tables in Houston as they wait to figure out what the next move is with Harvey, people that have been evacuated from their homes, people seeking shelter, realize that that place has an upstairs that has some higher ground. Head out there every Sunday night and people were like family. It was like everybody in Houston. You become their family quickly, whether you want to be or not. But it's a huge city and it was a media-driven city. It's car-oriented culture. And in a car-oriented culture, you're not going to a restaurant. You're not going to a baseball game. You're not going anywhere or spending any money on anything unless you've heard about it, because there's no foot traffic the way there is in cities like New York, where you're like, oh, a store, I'll just walk in and purchase something. That doesn't exist there. So, like I said, a very media-driven town. Unless you've got a coupon or you heard a radio ad or saw something about it on TV, you're not going to whatever the hell restaurant it is or whatever the store it is. And so for that reason, for a young, plucky individual like me that was determined to make some kind of path for himself in the world of media, Houston was the spot. And the other thing that I found out when I got to Houston really quickly, really quickly, and this is the thing that Coldplay, I think, talked about in their song. There's a harmony that bonds in Houston. And what I found almost immediately is that when I came to town and said, I'm looking for work, so many people were like, oh, you should talk to this person. You should talk to that person. You should absolutely look into this, that. People wanted to help. People wanted to help me get my life underway. I was a complete stranger with nothing to offer anyone. And everyone had all kinds of advice about what could maybe help me get a life started. And then the other thing that I found, and someone actually said these words to me. They said, you'll be all right. If you have something to offer, if you have a skill, if you have something that you are good at, this city will embrace that skill. They'll find a way to make use of you and put you to work. Almost immediately, I got a job at the Buzz in Houston. People couldn't believe it. Radio outsiders, meaning people in radio from other markets who had looked at the buzz, looked at this station, this huge station, the biggest alternative rock station in the country when the wind's blowing, right? Went, how is that possible? Like, people work for years to get into a town like that, and that's where you started? And I was like, well, I just kind of gave them my demo, and they put me on one night a week, overnight shift or something like that. They had a need. I was able to fulfill it, and all the politics that usually go with getting a teeny little weekend shift like that were absolutely non-existent. I could do something. I could add something to the community. I could be of value in some way. And that was immediately embraced. And that, I think, is part of what makes Houston special. And the greatest thing that ever happened to me was my decision to move to Houston and my shot at a start in radio at the Buzz, Houston's rock and alternative. Because not only was it a chance to have a job and a career and a life, all of which I had absolutely none of before heading there, but there's a community there. I don't know. I think I'm on the radio in like 25 different cities, and I love all of them for different reasons. Some of them are new. Some of them I've been on for a while, but there's something special and unique about the relationship that this station has with the people that listen to it, the Buzz in Houston, and with all the stations there, KPRC that carries this show. There's something very, very special about it in that you feel, and look, if you're in radio, this is why you do it. You feel like you're a part of people's lives. You feel like you're a part of the community. You feel as though you're keeping people company, and they're doing the same for you. That's all I ever wanted in radio. I loved radio growing up because, well, when I needed some company, when I needed someone to be there, there was a voice coming out of this box that made me feel like I wasn't alone. And that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do in radio. I wanted to be that voice for other people. I wanted to keep people company when they need it. And you really feel that. You really feel the people that listen to the radio station, the Buzz in Houston. You feel the audience. You feel it when you speak to them. You feel when you push, they will push back. When you ask them a question, they will respond. When you say something they agree with or disagree with or think is amusing or unamusing or what, they will let you know. And you feel as though you are part of something that helps. I'm on in the afternoon in Houston, and this is a city that is huge and very car-dominated culture. The traffic there is miserable. Commutes are miserable. And so I have a little opportunity every single day on the Buzz in Houston to try and leave the world a little bit better than I found it by maybe making someone's day and their commute a little less miserable, by sharing music and conversation and laughter. And there's no other city where I felt such a strong sense of community so quickly than Houston. My decision to move to Houston, like I said, probably the best one I ever made. Because Houston makes you a part of their town, of their community. You might not even intend to be that. You stop through there once, you make a couple of friends, there's going to be something special there for you for the rest of your life. And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people haven't seen it, and you have to kind of experience it for yourself to really recognize and understand it. But that's what makes Houston special. That is why I think trying to get through this week is a little tough. Because this is a city that makes everyone around it a part of their lives. And you can't help but take on the suffering of the people in Houston right now. You can't help but feel it in every fiber of your being, what's happening to folks in Houston right now. So proud of Houston. Part of the reason I love the city so much. Chuck D, when we were talking to him once, said, truth is like rain. Rain falls on everyone. This is why I'm a friend to all, no matter what our politics are. When he was talking about that, the truth was the rain was a metaphor. Now in Houston and in Texas, the rain is falling on everyone. And the rain has made it very clear that the people of Houston, they're not a color of skin. They're not a vote, a tax bracket, an age, a race, a religion. They're not the car they drive. They're not the home they live in. They're not the team they root for. They're Houston. They're Houston strong. And Houston's all in it together. People that are listening in Houston, we've all seen it. When help hasn't been able to get there, neighbors, strangers, responding first. The first responders are ordinary, everyday people. Remembering that this is our America and these are our people and we will do for one another. Some people in Houston have seen it done. Everyone's seen it done in Houston. People reaching out a hand to help. Some have done the helping. Some have gotten the help. And it's a real reminder of what makes us great. What makes us great in America. What makes us great is remembering that when it really counts, while no one can help everyone, everyone can help someone. And everyone has been helping someone. Hurricane Harvey has washed away entire chunks of the Gulf Coast. In the streets of Texas, over the last couple of days, in the streets, there's been up to 17, 18 feet of water. Raging torrents, looking like a river right underneath traffic lights. To give you an idea of the perspective, the white caps of these waves are going through the streets of Houston and reaching the bottoms of the traffic lights. You'd think it was a natural body of water if you hadn't seen the pole sticking out of it. Tens of thousands of people evacuated, many having lost absolutely everything. A death count that continues to rise. Financial devastation that is estimated to be in the tens of billions. I'm not talking to the people listening in Houston. I'm talking to the people listening in different parts of the world right now. You can go to this radio station's website, find a link to donate through the Red Cross to the victims of Hurricane Harvey. It's simple. It's easy. It'll take you like 2 minutes, but the people of Houston need your help. And I know in my heart they will do the same to help you when the time comes.
Every day you're waiting to get washed away.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you my musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD, and can't nobody rock a body better than me. Back once again.
So Kevin Hart, did you see this? Kevin Hart started a new internet challenge. You remember like the ice bucket challenge and stuff, Funkhauser? This is a bit of an elitist challenge. Not all of us are capable of taking part in this challenge, but Kevin Hart started a $25,000 Harvey challenge. And you know what? I kind of like the simplicity of it. He was like, money, we have it. Lots of other people don't. So he called out, this internet challenge, the Harvey challenge that Kevin Hart started. Like I said, one that most of us can't take part in. He donated $25,000 to the Red Cross for Hurricane Harvey relief, and he challenged his celebrity friends to do the same. In an Instagram video, which we can't play because it's full of curse words, he called out Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Chris Rock, Jerry Seinfeld, Justin Timberlake, Steve Harvey, and Dave Chappelle. And he's like, I'm donating $25,000. And I think that you should too. You know, I usually don't put a whole lot of stock in what celebrities have to say, but I really liked The Rock and his response. Only because in addition to immediately stumping up 25 G's in cash, he refused to play Kevin Hart's game. He was like, you know, I'm not going to tag a bunch of celebrities with a bunch of money in this particular video. However, you know who you are, you know what to do. But the thing about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson that made what he had to say a little bit more poignant and relevant is he actually survived a massive hurricane. He survived Hurricane Andrew. Do you have that? You have that audio, Funkhauser?
You know, anytime our country gets hit hard with a natural disaster like Hurricane Harvey, which is Mother Nature at her strongest wrath, completely devastating the great city of Houston, you know, that kind of stuff has a way of bringing us together as a country. Regardless of race and politics, we all want to step up to the plate, do everything we can to help out our brothers and sisters and families in need. Kevin Hart, you issued the Hurricane Harvey Challenge. I appreciate you, brother. I just donated my $25,000 to the Red Cross. My companies are donating money. I want to send a message to the people of Houston. You got to stay strong and you got to hold on to faith. I know what you're going through. I went through it. My family went through it. We went through Hurricane Andrew, which was a Category 5 hurricane. The eye of that storm crossed directly over us. It was devastating. We survived and we got stronger, and so will you. I'm not going to call out my celebrity friends. You guys already know what to do in terms of donating money. But to the people out there, if you could donate $1 or $2 to redcross.org, 1-800-RED-CROSS, I would appreciate it. Houston would appreciate it. Houston, stay strong and hold on to faith.
J.J. Watt of the Houston Texans, he did even better. I mean, J.J. Watt, besides the fact that he is absolutely 100 million% beloved by the people of Houston, in a much grander way, I think, experienced what I did when I moved to Texas from a different place. He moved there he's a Wisconsin boy, I believe, and he has become synonymous with the city of Houston. He did even better. He set up a crowdfunding page to raise $200,000. They hit that goal in less than 2 hours. Have a listen to what J.J. Watt had to say.
Yesterday, we set out with a goal of raising $200,000 for Hurricane Harvey and the victims and helping to try and rebuild. We hit the $200,000 within less than 2 hours. We just surpassed $500,000 within less than 24 hours. I can't even begin to describe what it's like to see people come together for a common cause. It truly is one of the most special things you can witness. There are so many people that are going to need our help. There are so many people that are going to need these funds to help rebuild their families, their houses, their communities. So I can't thank you enough, and I can't encourage you enough to help spread the word. Thank you to everybody who's retweeted. Thank you to everybody who's reposted, who's donated. Please continue to give. Whatever you can give, $5, 5 cents, $500. We appreciate it so, so much. And the city of Houston's so grateful for the help that we're going to be able to provide. youcaring.com/JJ Watt. Please donate whatever you can. Houston, we're going to come out stronger.
And by the way, if you want a quick, easy way to donate, you can, like we said, you can go to this radio station's website. There's going to be a link to donate to the Red Cross at the top of the page. You can call 1-800-RED-CROSS, or you can just text the word Harvey to 90999. You can text the word Harvey to 90999, and that's a quick, easy way to donate $10. Text Harvey to 90999. Chris Paul, basketball player who just got traded to the NBA's Houston Rockets, threw $50,000 into JJ's fund and pointed up another $25,000 to answer Kevin's challenge for a total of $75,000. And the Rockets and the Astros are giving $4 million each. Drake says he's working with some local authorities in Houston on ways he can help. Beyonce says she's working on a plan with her charitable foundation and her pastor. Beyonce's from Houston. I would imagine what she's going to be doing will be kind of huge. Ellen DeGeneres and her show donated $50,000 to the Red Cross, and she's giving another $25,000 to the Texas SPCA. The animal displacement problem is a big one. If you want to, and look, I've got a couple of hot button issues. I mean, it's all hands on deck for the people of Houston, of which I am one. but children, animals, veterans suffering from things like PTSD, these are, well, they can't help themselves the way we can a lot of the time. So I think that's probably where my heart always tends to lie in these situations. But if you are a person who's passionate about animals, the animals of Houston are 100% in need. Country singer Chris Young donated $100,000. Lady Antebellum donated merchandise sales from their Dallas show, which Lady Antebellum's huge in that world. I'm sure that's a very, very significant number. Sean Lowe from The Bachelor was out in floodwaters on a boat doing what he could to help. Yeah, it's amazing. It just, I think the thing that touches me the most is watching normal, everyday people become first responders. If you had a boat, the ability to do something for others, you didn't know when help from some sort of government authority was going to get there. So you hop in your boat and you go literally save lives. Ordinary, everyday people doing for one another. It's what makes Houston great, and it's what makes America great. And it's a great reminder of that in this day and age.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez, they both donated $25,000 each to Harvey relief. It seems like Kevin Hart started something. Like, it seems as though Kevin Hart, like, from now on, whenever celebrities are called upon to make a donation, Funkhauser, they're going to be like, oh, freaking, I used to be able to give $10,000 now thanks to Kevin Hart and his Harvey Internet Challenge. Like, moving forward, that appears to be the gold standard. Like, he was like, I'm going to donate $25,000, and I think you should too. And, like, it's a lot of money. And, I mean, unbelievably grateful for people having done this. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But I can just see how celebrities being like, great, because you can come with 10 grand. Look,
not anymore.
Not every celebrity is like a gazillionaire. There's a lot of like flashy showiness that, covers up a lot of bankruptcy in the world of entertainment. Like, there's a lot of people that you think are absolutely rolling in it that are in no way, shape, or form rolling in it. Especially rappers. Rappers are folks that are made to look like they're worth $1 million when they are in no way, shape, or form worth $1 million. So it's just like, there's probably a bunch of Houston rappers being like, I don't have $25,000. I'm going to do everything I can to help. But I'm glad Kevin Hart didn't call me out. It's an interesting one. It set a new fiscal standard for generosity. The $25,000 Harvey challenge issued by Kevin Hart, which, you know what? It's an amazing, and it's an amazing, beautiful thing to do. It will be a drop in the bucket. The financial devastation is estimated to be in the tens of billions of dollars. But absolutely every penny is necessary. Absolutely every penny will help. Like I said, if you want to make a donation, you can go to this radio station's website. At the top of the page, there's going to be a link to make a donation to victims of Harvey through the Red Cross, or you can just call 800 Red Cross, or you can text Harvey to 90999 to donate $10. Text Harvey to 90999 to donate a quick $10. All right, Funkhauser.
You sound tired, like you've been up all night.
I haven't. You don't sleep. And look, like I said, my situation, everything I own, well, except for that storage space that I just remembered, that is now officially up in the air. But you know what? It's just stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's there. Maybe it's damaged. Maybe it exists. Maybe it doesn't.
Oh, no, my couch from the 80s.
I don't know. I think there's a couple computers there, and I can't remember
my
exactly
386 Intel. Oh, no.
Right. Yeah. My Commodore 64 will never be able to play MineQuest on it again. But I mean, look, there's friends of mine who are in, like this one friend of mine who lives not far from where my place in Houston is. He is on the 5th floor, so he's okay. He's okay because the water doesn't look like it's going to reach where he is. However, he was like, I can't get down to the garage. I'm pretty sure my car is gone, like just gone. I think that's it for the car. And he has power and he has internet, but he does not have running water. Water everywhere. Not a drop to drink. Not a drop to flush the toilet with. So I was on the phone with him and I was like, well, why don't you just put something out on your balcony to try and collect rainwater so you can flush your toilet with? He's like, yep, been doing it. There's all this water everywhere, but it's a surprisingly slow process collecting enough to flush toilets with. And then there's, I mean, it's like a kind of mental torture for the people of Houston, because this guy, like I said, is in an advantageous situation in that he's on a high floor and he has power and he has internet and he has some food and he has a couple cases of water that he stockpiled for just such an occasion. But he hasn't slept 4 or 5 days because hurricane gave way to tornadoes. And so there's tornado warnings literally all the time. The alerts keep going off, and every time they do, he's got to run into his bathroom and take cover from the threat of a tornado. And then an alarm went on a fire. But if you've ever lived in an apartment building, you know that there's, in at least modern ones, like the guy, like this one lives in, like the one this guy lives in, there's an alarm in every room because they want to make sure that you know you got to get out. And they are loud and piercing, and this thing has been going off for hours at a time. And there's no getting away from it. Like, it's physically painful, the level of noise that happens in every single room. You can't go into the hallway because it's even louder there. And so he's found that him and most of his neighbors have gone out into the rain on their balconies to get away from the noise. So for days and days at a time, people are in these crazy situations where they're without sleep, and they're in this almost sort of like torturous situation where every time they feel like they might be about to get 10, 15 minutes of sleep, there's some sort of tornado warning and they have to get up and they have to go into the bathroom. And then, they've got actual alarms keeping them awake. I think, that level of noise for that length of time, that's the sort of stuff that in the military they use to break people down. You hear they play Metallica and Nickelback to try and get people to come out in wartime efforts. This is significantly less pleasant than that. And this is a guy who, by way of comparison, has things good. And it's just this level of mental exhaustion, and it is kind of, I think, like a form of torture for people in Houston, not knowing, being on constant alert, not being able to sleep, not know what's happening. And then, there's folks that are on their roofs at nights waiting for rescue because they can't spend time in their house, and it's raining on them throughout the night, raining on them, their families, the few possessions they think they might take with them. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And yeah, no, I haven't slept much in the last couple of days because you're just constantly up monitoring social media, looking for someone that might need help, or being told I need help, and then trying to help locate someone that could potentially go be of some sort of assistance. And I think that's the frustrating part for a lot of people. There's so many people that want to help. So many people that are fortunate enough to where they're on land that is still relatively high and dry, but they can't do anything. They're trapped. They're prisoners in their own home because they can't really get anywhere. They can't, like I said, Houston's a massive place. If you're up on the north side of town, if you're up in the Champions Forest area or the Woodlands or Spring or someplace like that is not flooded, and you've got neighbors in Cypress that have been flooded out, or there's folks that you want to help in the city of Dickinson, which has been completely evacuated on the south side of Houston. There's absolutely no way in heaven or hell, you're making it there to do anything. So people feel frustrated and stymied because they can't help the way they would want to or the way they would like to. And so it's a crazy, crazy thing. And people that live people that listen in places like Orlando, Florida, where they're familiar with the phenomena of hurricanes, have all been through variations of this before. And look, as the great Chuck D said, truth is like rain, it falls on everyone. I think there's not really a place in America that has been spared from some sort of natural disaster. So I think we can all kind of like empathize and understand, but it's next level, and you haven't slept and you have some nightmares, and then you emotionally sort of like take it all on. And that's small potatoes, but it's just, haven't there. You're right, Funkhauser. I haven't slept much. there you go. He said, making a long story longer. How much time do we even have left?
You got like 4 minutes, so wrap it up.
Well, all right. You know what? Again, I'm going to say you can donate to the Red Cross and the victims of Hurricane Harvey by going to this radio station's website. At the top of the page, there's going to be a quick, easy link that you can use to do that. Or you can just call 800 Red Cross, or you can text Harvey to 90999 to donate $10. Funkhauser, let's play out. Let's listen to it again. Let's listen to the song that Coldplay wrote for the city of Houston, about the city of Houston, called Houston.
Special place. I'm dreaming of when Houston has no problem. In that city where they send you into space. I'm dreaming of when I get back to Texas. Corpus Christi, Harris County, Galveston. There's a harmony that comes down there in Houston. Oh, Houston, you got to keep on keeping on. From Miami, we are sending love to Houston. We are praying that you make it through the rain. I know nothing's gonna break the will of Houston. Oh, and we can't wait to go down there again. I am dreaming of when I get back to Texas. Corpus Christi, Harris County, Galveston. There's a harmony that comes down there in Houston. Oh, Houston, got to keep on keeping on. Take a jump. Oh, Houston, got to keep on keeping on. Yeah, Houston.